Hello, people. Welcome to another episode of Grand Football Weekly. How are we doing? Yes, we are into game week 3 now, guys. It's starting to, look, like a season because everyone's starting to bring in the players they want. They're starting to play the football that they need to play to get themselves where they need to be. And don't forget, by the 1st of September, the transfer window will be shut, and everyone would now know who they've got and who they have got to use for the rest of the season. And after that, we will be bringing you our predictions for the season, because we're waiting for everyone to have who their players are for the season before we predict the Premier League, the top 4, bottom 3, and all that. Yeah, we'll be bringing you that in another video after the transfer window shut. So game week 2, let us quickly look at game week 2 and see how we did in game week 2 before we go into game week 3. It started off with West Ham versus Chelsea, and you know how that one ended. Not very good for Potter and his boys. They lost 5-1 to Chelsea. What an emphatic win by Chelsea, making a statement that, the Crystal Palace game was a one-off. We're back. We're going to make sure we score a lot of goals this season. And well done to Chelsea. They did well. They started off the week with a good win away from home against West Ham. And West Ham, they're looking like their manager is going to be in a lot of trouble if they don't bring in more players before the end of the transfer window, because their team is looking very, 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 very small, and lacking a lot of quality in that team. I don't know why. They used to have loads of players with good quality, but they seem to have dropped in their quality now. So they lost that one 5-1. The shock of the weekend, Man City versus Tottenham. Tottenham going away and beating Man City 2-0. What an emphatic win as well by Tottenham. They played, they pressed, they did everything to ensure that Man City didn't get a goal. Even when they tried to change things around, it still didn't work. Their main man, Haaland, was locked out. Didn't have any chances in the game. Maybe one chance, which was a half chance, you would say. And they ended up winners of that game. What an emphatic win by Thomas Frank and his boys. They're looking like a team now. They're looking like a team. And you can't really predict what setup he's going to do for each game, and that gives him that advantage against every team that he plays. So well done to Thomas Frank, well done to Tottenham. They went away from home against the big boys. They seem to have Man City's number, don't you think? Because the last time, remember, last season, they went there as well and they beat City 4-0, and they've gone there again this time and they've won 2-0. So they're doing well. They're doing well. Bournemouth versus Wolves. Bournemouth winning that one by a goal to nil. That was an emphatic win by them as well. And they made sure they held on to that goal as soon as they scored it. And it helped them until the end of the game. Well done to them. Well done to them. I haven't been talking about our predictions because, to be fair, no one's had the correct score for both the Chelsea game as well as the Man City game. No one got the correct score, and no one got the correct score as well for the Bournemouth game. Brentford versus Aston Villa, and that finished 1-0 as well, with the new signing for Brentford getting on the score sheet. And it's looking a bit worrisome for Aston Villa at the moment. It looks like they're unable to buy players, and they're even losing the ones that they have, trying to generate some money. And it's not looking good for them. It's not looking good. They haven't started the season well. Last week, they drew with Newcastle, which they were lucky to because they had a man sent off. They could have lost the game, and now they're losing again 1-0. In fact, they haven't scored a goal, guys. Aston Villa haven't scored a goal in 2 games. No one's talking about that yet because it's still early days, but it's a bit of a worrying sign for Unai Emery if he can't get those guys, banging in goals. Burnley versus Sunderland, the newly promoted derby, and Burnley showed their class and making sure that what happened against Tottenham didn't happen against the newly promoted side. They were really good and they won the game. Sunderland, on the other hand, were wasteful. They had a few chances that could have helped them come back in the game or even take the lead, but they didn't take it, and they found themselves where they did, and they ended up losing that game 2-0. Arsenal versus Leeds. It started off really good with the new signing, Eberechi Eze, being displayed to the crowd, and what an emotional moment, especially for myself, an Arsenal fan. You can imagine how that wonderful it was. And the game started and they went into top gear. They didn't start well, to be fair. They were a bit slow, until they got that first goal, and then it settled the nerves, and then they started playing football and getting themselves 5 goals in the game. The new signing, Victor Gyökeres, getting himself on the score sheet and scoring 2 goals in that game. His first goal, what a goal. He took it well. He made that goal for himself, pretty much. And yeah, it was a good game. 5-0 to the Arsenal. Crystal Palace versus Nottingham Forest. Crystal Palace versus Nottingham Forest. And that one finished 1-1. Both of them sharing the spoils. So Crystal Palace have played 2 games now and they've drawn 2 games. Nottingham Forest, at least they won their first game and they lost this one. They drew this one, so they'll be happy that at least they haven't lost yet, and we'll be looking at their next fixture to see if they have any chances of carrying on the good run. Yeah. Everton versus Brighton. They're playing in their new stadium, the Hill Dickinson Stadium, and what a crowd, what an atmosphere it was, and what a game. Jack Grealish living up to his new expectations, delivering 2 assists in the game, and their keeper Pickford making sure that he kept a clean sheet with that penalty save. What a good game everyone on the Everton side had. Brighton will be looking to make sure they come back from this. Yeah. Fulham versus Man United. The less we say about this, the better for Man United fans. It's not looking good. Well, you know what happened in the midweek where they lost to a League 2 side in the cup. But in the league, they're not doing any better. They've played 2, they've drawn 1, lost 1. And it's fair to say that the newly promoted teams have got a win before Man United. Leeds have got a win, Burnley have got a win, Sunderland have got a win, and Man United are still struggling for their first win. But when we look at their game coming up, maybe that might be where they probably think they will get their first win. And the last game, what a thriller. Newcastle versus Liverpool, the Isakitike derby. Remember we said that last week, Isak and Ekitike. And Ekitike was the one playing. Isak didn't play. Ekitike got himself on the score sheet and he got himself on the winning side as well. What a late goal they scored. Rio Ngumoha getting himself on the score sheet after coming on. He's gonna be a star, guys. I watched him in pre-season and I was impressed with what I saw. He's very direct. It reminds me of a young Raheem Sterling, I would say. But yeah, they got themselves that goal, edging Newcastle 3-2 in that game and making sure that they went away with the 3 points. But Liverpool, they're a bit shaky at the moment at the back. This is the 3rd consecutive game where they've conceded 2 goals. In fact, the last 2 games, they've been leading by 2 goals and been pegged back to 2-2 before they went on to win. So is it important that they get more defensive, backup to help Van Dijk, because Konate doesn't look to be playing that good at the start of the season, so they might need some proper backup to see how they go for the season. Yeah, so that's game week 2. And for that week, let us look at all the games where a pundit got the correct score. The Fulham Man United game, well done to Yema and Michael. They both got the correct score for that game. The Crystal Palace game, we had Dion, who got the correct score. The Burnley Sunderland game, we have Osita, who got the correct score. And the Brentford Aston Villa game, we've got David, who got the correct score. And yours truly, I got the correct score for the Everton Brighton game. So these are the only correct score in game week 2. So let's look at game week 3 now. Game week 3, we are going to look at it quickly. And the first game is Chelsea versus Fulham. Chelsea versus Fulham. Yep. And Chelsea, I am going to pick Chelsea to beat Fulham. It's a West London derby, but I think Chelsea might have just enough in the bag to win the game. And I'm going to go for Chelsea to beat Fulham 3-2. Chelsea to beat Fulham 3-2. Man United versus Burnley. Man United, with all that's happening lately, do you think they can win their game? Do you think they can get their acts together and make sure they come together to win this game? I think so. I think they would have to, get together. They have to come together and make sure that they get a result. So I'm going to go for Man United to beat Burnley 3-1. Sunderland versus Brentford. Sunderland versus Brentford. I am going to go for a draw in this one. A 2-2 draw. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Tottenham versus Bournemouth. This is going to be a difficult game for Tottenham, because Bournemouth are a good side. But I don't know, I'm just the new Tottenham. I see them locking up shop and making sure that they get the result that they need, especially at home. So I'm going to go for Tottenham to beat Bournemouth 2-0. Tottenham to beat Bournemouth 2-0. Wolves versus Everton. Everton. Wolves haven't had a great start, and I know their manager would be wanting to make sure they get back to winning ways, how he did towards the end of last season. I know they've lost some very, very important players like Cunha and Aït-Nouri, but I think they might just want to get this win, this first win. And I don't know, I'm just backing them to win this one. It might be a very slim win, but a win all the same. And I'm going to go for Wolves to beat Everton 1-0. Wolves to beat Everton 1-0. Yeah. Leeds versus Newcastle. This is going to be an interesting one, guys. It's going to be an interesting one. Leeds versus Newcastle. It's always used to be a feisty game in the past, but this time it's been a long time. Well, not too long, but it's been a while they played each other. So see how this one pans out. I'm going to go for a Leeds win. I'm going to go for a Leeds win. You see that striker they're missing up front for Newcastle? It's a huge problem. And they've lost Gordon now again, who's supposed to be the stand-in. He got himself sent off in the last game, so he will not be playing this one. So I'm going to go for Leeds to beat Newcastle 2-1. 2-1. Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace. Aston Villa got to get themselves a win. They've got to try and make sure they win a game. And I'm going to go for them to beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Crystal Palace, remember, they've started their European run, and they had a game on Thursday, so I think this one might just be a bit too hard for them. And I think Villa would want to make sure they get themselves back into winning ways, and I'm going to go for Villa to beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Brighton versus Manchester City. Very difficult game. Brighton haven't started off the best. Man City, will be probably vexed from that last game against Tottenham. So this game, who knows how Pep is going to set his team, but I think he will try to set them up to try and go there and win the game. So I'm going to go for a Man City away win. Man City to win 3-2 away from home. Nottingham Forest versus West Ham. West Ham, like we said, it's not looking good. And they also lost to Wolves in the Carabao Cup in midweek. So there's 3 games now, no wins. So I'm just going to say that they are going to lose this one as well, I'm afraid. And Forest, they're not going to pity you. They're not going to want to, just, they're having a bad run. Let's take it easy on them. Nah, they're probably going to score a lot of goals. And I'm going to go for a huge win for Forest. Forest to beat West Ham 4-1. Forest to beat West Ham 4-1. And the game of the weekend, Liverpool versus Arsenal. This is always an interesting game. And I see Liverpool, if they don't sort out their defensive frailties before this game, they will get beat. Because Arsenal, we've got some better firepower going forward now. The likes of Eze should play this game. The likes of Madueke because of Saka's injury. The likes of Gyökeres should be there. And maybe Martinelli, I would say, should be on the left. And that's huge. Ekitike up front for them. And Salah and maybe Gakpo. Yeah, that's also good. But Arsenal, I feel, will come out tops in this game. I mean, it's my bias talking. I know everyone knows that. I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm always going to back my team. I'm going to back Arsenal to go to Liverpool and pull out a win. Remember, it's been a long time Arsenal actually won at the stadium. So I think Arsenal will go to Anfield and get that win. They will get that win, and I'm going to go for Arsenal to win 3-1 away from home. 3-1 away from home. Yeah, so what are your own predictions, guys? You can leave it in the comment section, and we will see you in our next video. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Have a good one. Bye for now.
Don't check this.